This week I'm going to be just riffing on some videos here, just answering some emails because I am in Flagstaff. I don't have my usual setup. So I got a guy here, okay, and he's asking me, how can I deal with the envy of another man's success? How does this relate to you? If you're still watching this, basically, even if you're not involved in game, in improving your skills with women, what I'll tell you about is just this idea of regression, which is really important to understand. It definitely applies in game, and it's going to be helpful if you know about this. So definitely watch the video to the end, and we'll also dealing with envy in general. So that's why I want to make this video. All right, guys, if you're just joining me for the first time, I'm John from Bulldog, mindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to get the physique you want, how to get the girls you want, and how to go from the victim mindset to the Bulldog mindset. If that sounds like something that you are interested in, click that subscribe button. Join us on this quest, all right? Right down there. Click the bell also. And also take the Bulldog quiz. It's up in the corner here. And you'll get a score from 0 to 100. We'll tell you whether or not you're a Bulldog. All right, guys, so let's get into this here and let's discuss what's going on here. So I'll read you the beginning of the email. I gotta I'm using my phone. So, hey, John, got a game question. Oh boy, I'm not proud of writing this, but the two issues seem to plague me throughout my pickup journey, namely A, regressing back to prior game level, and B, narcissistic envious tendency due to another man's success in pickup. Okay, so he says, 2 weeks ago, I was learning pickup pretty well. I was slowly inclining and improving my overall game. I started reading a girl's vibes correctly, knew how to hook sets, etc. Before it went downhill. It's strange and logically I can't explain it. But for the last week and a half or so, I'm opening girls great, but my game itself is declining. For example, if an interaction with the girl is going well, I'd eject out of a set early since I'd blank or feel uninteresting. Failing to hook girls has started becoming an issue too. It's the weirdest yet most frustrating thing in the world. Okay? So that's the first part here. And I want to address this, guys, because I want you to understand something. And this is something that when I'm working with my coaching clients individually, like in person, in Vegas and places like that, that I warn them on the first night that I take them out and give them the ropes and try to really improve their game. Okay, which is this. Okay, this is what I tell them. All right, you're going to have a very big spike, all right, in your ability. Okay, it's going to happen. You're going to have this really big spike after this weekend, okay? And then when you get back home, it's going to drop, okay? And you're going to feel like you lost everything that you had gained from what we're going to do this weekend. But you will still have sustained a large portion of it, and you'll have increased your base level. Because the way that generally things work when you're improving at something, okay, especially game, right? I'll give you an example with running as well, but is that it's like this kind of curve here, right? And you're like here, and then you bump up, and then you go back down, but then you're still a little bit higher than you were before, right? But you're never going to stay as high as you were, right? This is something I experienced when I was learning. This is something that pretty much every single one of my coaching clients that I've worked with personally has experienced. Every guy I know that's good with game and just overcoming social anxiety, all those things, like every single one of those things that you're working on as a man, you're going to experience this, okay? You're going to have that increase initially, and it's going to feel great. And then you're going to feel that decrease because you're returning back to a baseline level, but a new baseline, okay? And that's the key. And it's important to keep on going through this process and not get discouraged, okay, so that you can improve over time, because that's how you improve. You have to go through this. You cannot just be flying super high all the time. And this has happened to me. Like I said, it's happened in multiple areas. In fact, I can give you a running example, right? It happens to me all the time in running. I'm training for a 100-mile race right now. Okay. And I remember when I trained for the 50 mile, right? And I was on the way to the 100. Well, when I got close to the 50 mile, like my fitness peaked. I was like at the top of my game. I was running, I ran 50 miles at like less than 10-minute mile pace for most of the way. And then right afterwards, about a week later, my fitness was bad. Like I was running slow. I felt sluggish, right? This is a week after. And I felt like I lost all the gains that I had. And I sort of did. I lost a lot of that fitness because I was just peaking. I was basically cutting back my mileage and peaking so that I could get the best as I could for that time. But then it goes down. But then I have a new base that's better than what I was before I started training for the 50. So as I'm training for the 100, and the same thing happens in these cycles, okay? There's another phenomenon that's happening here, all right? Which is just the cyclic nature of human motivation, ability, and competency, and just the way our brains work, right? We get into ruts, okay? And I'm telling you, I've been there, all right? And you're just going to go through this period of time, and especially with game, right? In this case where all the shit, like you're just going to feel all of a sudden like you've got new social anxiety again. You didn't have approach anxiety, but now you do, okay? Because you overcome it, but now you can't anymore. And you don't have the golden mouthpiece. Every time you go and talk, like shit comes out of your mouth and you don't know what to say and you feel awkward and you can't hook any sets anymore. And you're just failing, okay? It just happens, right? And and you compare it to like what you were doing before, where you felt like, oh, I was on top, I was doing so good, and you feel like you lost it now, something must have happened, right? Because you're comparing it to when you were on a heat streak, right? And so don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be disappointed when the streak ends. The same thing happens even just making videos, right? I mean, have I gone through this so many times on this damn channel? Fuck. I'm so tired of going through this shit. But it's like, sometimes I make just fantastic videos. I'm just like, I'm the man here, right? And sometimes, like even this morning, I did a live stream this morning promoting something for a friend of mine, John from Major Life Dating. I was promoting his has a really good course on online dating, and for some reason I just felt like I was a big shill. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a good course and I want to promote the thing and I do think it's valuable, but I just felt like the way I was doing it felt cheesy and salesman like it. I just didn't feel good about it when I was doing it. And it wasn't because of what I was promoting. It was because of how I was doing. Like, I just wasn't coming across natural and genuine. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep. I don't know what it was, right? And that's just a lull. It's just a lull that you go through. And I've had this so many times making videos. And I'm like, I just got to keep on making videos anyway, right? Same thing. I'm posting my Instagram posts and I write a little, thing there, write an essay. And sometimes it's just like, it's like shitty essay after shitty essay. And I'm like, this sucks, right? And it's like, I wrote some good ones before. And you're just going to go through that, okay? So what you have to do is you have to grin and bear it. All right. You just have to go and keep on going, man. You got to go and keep on learning game. It doesn't matter if you're having success. It just matters that you get your feet out there, that you're grinding, that you're doing the work. This is why I tell you guys, life is a fucking grind. Okay. This is the grind part. Okay. When you're having success and you're climbing the ladder and you feel like you're doing good, it's easy. It's easy to keep on going. It's not a grind. Okay. The grind comes when it gets hard and you start to see negative progress, because that ultimately happens in whatever you're doing. And that's where you have to hang on. That's where you have to push through. Okay. And again, we're talking about game, but we're not talking about game, right? It's fine. If you're don't care about that shit, it's fine. Like, still pay attention to what I'm telling you, because it applies to life in general, to so many areas of your life. So anyway, that's the basics of it. Just realize that you're going to go through these cycles. Okay. You're going to be at the top and then you're going to have a new baseline. And that's just normal, process of this. I could give you specifics, but I'm not going to give specifics here, because he talked about some of the things that he's doing, like walking out. Like, don't ever walk out of a set. One thing I will say, like, if you want some specific game advice that I will give you based on just what I saw, just those small moments here that were mentioned, is this. Okay, when you're kind of in the state where he's saying, like, he's opening great, but game is declining. He'll eject out set early since he's blank or feeling uninterested, feeling the hook, right? So when you're in that kind of state, the best thing to do is just to amp things up, right? See what you can do, see what you can get away with, say outlandish things, just because it makes it fun. It makes it fun, and then you figure out where your boundaries are, right? So it's like, think of it as an opportunity. Whenever I'm fucking things up, really, I'm like, hey, this is a good opportunity to go avant-garde and to just like try something new, right? I can just, try something new. And so, hey, you're in a set, it's not going well. You're like, it's like, what did he say? It's like dead, you're blank or uninteresting. Just be like, so I think what we should do now is just go to your apartment and fuck. And just say it with just a straight face. Just see what she says, right? After you've been talking about where she works and hobbies and stuff like that, just see it. Just see what she says, right? Just say some random shit, okay? Just say, hey, come with me. I want to show you something, all right? And then just like take her hand and take her around the block and just show her a trash can or some shit like that, like a dumpster in the back, and be like, what do you think about that? Right? Just do some random shit. You know what I mean? I'm just coming up with stuff out of my head, okay? But, and my head is a pretty fucked up place. Yours might be a little bit more normal. So you might your thing might be just a little bit weird, okay? Whereas mine is just fucking off the wall weird, because that's the shit that I'm just coming up with on the fly here. But you see what I'm doing when I'm doing this? I'm just letting myself come up with that kind of stuff, all right? And if you do that, first of all, it's going to entertain you, because you already have let go of the expectation. You're like, I don't care if I fuck this up. I'm already, like, it doesn't matter at this point. Rather than eject, I might as well, this is kind of a free roll, right? It's like, I don't need to eject. I'll just pull the handle and see what happens, okay? You're going to learn from that experience, and it's going to be fun, and you're going to, that's the story you're going to talk about with your friends. So that's kind of my little bit of advice there, right, based on that. Okay, now let's talk about the last part here. All right, he says, not only that, my buddy, who I've been day gaming with for 2 months, has gotten 3 Insta dates and met this sweet, cute Ukrainian girl today who I didn't approach, not due to AA, because she seemed more of his type, despite the fact that I put in far more work than he does at approaching, and he possesses pretty bad AA, that's approach anxiety, without me. I hate to sound like a bitch, but it isn't fair. I write dozens of detailed reports, work my ass off approaching nearly twice the girls he does, and consult guys on numerous forums and Discord servers. Today was pretty much the last straw. There's a reason why I game solo pre-lockdown. I'm incredibly competitive and despise rivalry. How should I handle this? Okay. Gosh, there's a lot of things to say here. So first of all, don't despise rivalry, right? You cannot be conflict averse, right? You must want competition, okay? It's a not alpha trait, more of a beta trait, to not want to compete at things, like to not have competition, right? It makes you have the little butterflies in your stomach, and it makes you uncomfortable that you're competing and that you could lose, and you could lose face, and this guy could beat you. But that's the thing that spurs you forward and makes you, perform. Okay. Or flop. In this case, you're flopping possibly because of this. Possibly all of your shit that's happening is because of this. And to that, I say good. Why do I say good to that? Because this is the real world, baby. This is what you need to overcome. Okay. And if you overcome this, even when you go solo, you're going to be better off. Okay. So you have to deal with this shit. Now, as far as the envy in general, okay, due to another man's success and pickup, I mean, that's just a tough one, right? I mean, it's like, you're like, oh, this guy's so much better than me, or is he better looking than me? Is that why? It's like, you're going to feel that way. You're going to feel a little bit insecure about yourself because of someone else having success, especially when they're not putting in the work and you feel like it's not worth it. And you start to go a little bit more towards the black pill type of side of things, but don't, okay? Instead, realize that life is unfair. Everything is unfair in life, and sometimes you have to put in more work than some other guy, but it doesn't matter, because it only matters, like, the competition that you have, like who you're competing with, is yourself, okay? Because you're competing to become the best version of yourself possible, and you have to deal with what hand you've been dealt. That's the key. You can't control what hand you've been dealt. So maybe you have to work harder. Maybe you have to outwork everyone. I like outworking everyone. You know why? Because people underestimate me, and then I work my ass off and I do the impossible and I surpass them, because the grind that I have to go through in order to achieve the results that came easy for them makes me a stronger person in general, and that I'm able to excel in a lot of different areas. That's one thing that I've learned to be good at. So don't worry about what he's doing. Don't worry about his results, but do compete. Do allow there to be that competition. I think that's great. And I think it's great you're doing your homework. It's natural to feel like an envy to some degree of someone else's success. But what will help you to get over that is to realize that it's up to you. Like, if you want results, they have to come from you. Like no one else can, like if this guy's not as good or doesn't get as good as a result, like in fact, here's one other frame. Okay. So every time that I look at things that I want to help myself psychologically, I just figure out what the frame needs to be. Okay. So here's a frame that I would use if I was in your situation. Let me just think about this for a second. Okay. I got a friend. Okay. He's a dork. All right. He's not putting in the work. All right. And he is just like, he's doing shitty job, but he's having way more success than me. What do? I frame it like this. Okay, this is awesome, right? Because the fact that this guy could be such a fuck up, okay, and not put in the work and still get success just goes to show, you know, that it's possible and I can do it. Like the more that he has success, like I want to see him pull off incredible shit because I know that if he can do it, I can do it because I'm putting in the work, right? I know he might be getting lucky. That's fine. I want him to get lucky because I know if he can do it and get lucky, then I can do it by putting in the work. So I'm reframing it to say that I want to see him do shit. I want to see him have success, like ridiculous success, because that just shows me how much I can grow and what's possible for me, right? Does that make sense? Because I know that I'm putting in more work. So I know it doesn't matter where he's at right now. I'm going to catch up and pass him because if you have a guy that's traveling along like this, and let's say he's ahead of you for some reason, right? But he's traveling along like this, but you're traveling along faster. Okay, you're eventually going to catch him and you're eventually going to pass him. So the better he is, the better your potential is, right? That's a good frame to look at it. You have to reframe things in your mind to make them positives. Again, what did I do with the other part of this video where I talked about the interaction with the girl? I was like, oh, let's go around the block and look at this dumpster, right? So we want to reframe as many things as possible to make them always to your advantage. Like everything in life, what you'll notice if you hang around with me is it's just like Jocko Willink says, good, that's good. I do that. I do the same thing. Even before I read the book, that's what, because I always reframe it so that it's to my advantage. There's no way you can spin something that's negative to me because I'm like, no. See, this is good because, see, I wanted this to happen because, right? And that's what you have to do. And that's going to pull you out of a lot of shit, guys. It's going to pull you a lot of self-pity and this is not fair and all that. No. You just reframe it. Just make it into something good. Like every single thing, potentially, it's all about interpretation, right? If you're failing a lot, it means you're fucking growing a lot. It means that you're figuring out things that aren't working. It means that you're building some character, that you're building some grit because you're persevering even though you're failing, which means that you're building grit. And grit is an expensive thing to acquire and it's a good thing to have. So you see what I'm saying? Like you cannot fail as long as you look at life through that lens and you're willing to reframe things. And let me tell you what happens when you get good at reframing things. Then you get good at holding and maintaining a frame and creating a frame in game. And your game will improve because of that. Again, see how I've reframed framing? Right? This is the magic, okay? Once you get the ability to do this, you become like an architect of creating worlds. I'm not even fucking with you. I'm serious. Like you become an architect who can create whatever world that you want because you can reframe things as much as you can. You can reframe things for yourself. And when you believe it, you can make other people believe it as well. So that's the magic, man. All right, guys, I have to tell you also, if you've been listening to this video up to this point, you are the kind of person, okay, that I want in the Bulldog Mindset membership. See, I should have probably mentioned it earlier in the video and got some more people, but it's fine. Because, see, you got the gold because the nuggets in this video really came towards the end. But the reason why you need to sign up for the Bulldog Mindset membership is because this is where we have these discussions. Okay, we have a Discord server in there, a Facebook group. Okay, a bunch of guys. I make videos in there talking about a lot of the stuff and going down and breaking down some game. In fact, I'd like to do some more stuff where I'd like to have some of you guys give me some of your field reports and then I will break them down for you, or maybe we'll do it together. Okay. I think that would be kind of fun. I think that'd be interesting. But anyway, you want to be around these kind of guys and to be part of this community. Trust me. That's how you level up in life. That's how you grow. And again, we're not just talking game. We're talking financially. We're talking physically, right? The guys that are around other guys that are doing what they want to do, they're the ones who excel the most. So there's a link below, $7 for the first month for the Bulldog Mindset membership. Then it's $29 a month afterwards. It will not break your bank. It is pretty damn cheap for what you're getting there. A ton of shit. So go check it out. And for you guys that stayed, you get my props because you got the gold, the nugget, which is the framing. See, this video should have just been about framing. And people ask me all the time to make videos on framing, and I don't do it, right? But I did. And you're the only ones who know because I didn't call it framing. So, all right, guys, that's it. Watch more videos. Take care. Don't give up.